All right, guys. So, time for a midday market recap on today, the 32nd day of the $100,000 challenge. So, this week has been a little bit tricky for me. I had a red day yesterday, and it got me a little bit frustrated. I had a really good Monday and Tuesday, then a red day Wednesday. Of course, I was red on Thursday and Friday of last week, and lost $9,000 on those 2 days. So that's was still fresh in my mind this week as I was trying to rally and bounce back. Now, something that I've talked about quite a bit is how I've been feeling really driven and very eager to get to this kind of milestone of $100,000, and I think it's encouraged me at times to force trades or to take really exceptionally big positions, bigger trades than I would have taken at any time probably last year. And last year, I really wasn't thinking about like this mindset of like I needed to get to 100K or 200K. I really wasn't even thinking about it. It was just like, yeah, having a good week, that's great, and that was fine. So on the one hand, this goal that I've created for myself to take a $583 account and turn it into 100 grand is a huge motivator, and I'm really competitive, even with myself. Like I want to do better than I did last week. I want to do better than the last time I did a small account challenge, and I get really frustrated with myself when I'm not at the performance level that I think I should be at. So yesterday I was a little bit frustrated. Of course, Thursday and Friday I was pretty frustrated. And whenever I have a setback, I go into my hole and I kind of think for a little bit, my man cave, and then I come out of the gates swinging, ready to attack the market. And that's what happened today. I came out of the gates swinging, looking for a big trade. I took I think a total of 5 trades today, maybe even 6. My accuracy was pretty poor. My first trade on NOVN, and I'll give you the breakdown of the stats. I'm finishing the day up $6,367.66, which on the surface was a good day. A little below the surface is the fact that I was up 10,000 and then I gave back 3,000, so or 3,500. So, that's the part that's not as pretty, and I'm ending the day on a red trade. So again, even though I had a great day, I'm ending with like a little bit of a slap in the face. So that keeps me, every time that happens, I get knocked down. I just come back, wanting to get right back up and right back to the top, or as wherever I would have been if I hadn't had that setback, and I would have been around $70,000. So now in my mind is 70 grand. I need to get over 70 grand. Today I started the day at 60,000, and I'm going to close around 66, 67,000. So for those of you watching on Facebook, you can see the P&L right here. So, obviously the big picture is that this is a great day. $6,300 is good, but it's never fun to have a $3,100 loss. The $10,000 win is nice, but you can see I was red on 2 out of my 3 trades today, the stocks that I traded. So accuracy today, a little bit poor, wasn't really where I wanted it to be. And, the fact that I had a big win and a big loss is again the result of being really aggressive on my position sizing. When I step up to the plate and I take 10,000 or 20,000 shares, when I make 50 cents per share, that's 10,000 bucks. That's $5,000 to $10,000. And I had 20,000 shares of CUR after I added out of the halt. So with a 20,000 share position, I made just over 50 cents, which was obviously, a great trade. With PSIX, I took a starter of 2,700 shares, and then I added 2,500 and added 2,500 again. I got myself up over 7,000 shares. And on that trade, I was up about 30 cents on 7,000 shares. So I was up 2,100 bucks. And instead of taking profit, I actually was adding because I thought it was going to go higher. And then when it all of a sudden dropped down to break even and then down 30 cents, I just kind of, again, the way I've done several times in the last week, I just kind of sat there because all of a sudden my position is so big that I know if I just mark it out, I'm going to lose more, even more in slippage. And then the loss is going to get bigger. And that's exactly what happened. And they ended up holding some of PSIX through a circuit breaker halt going down. So obviously, in this one candle here where we went from 694, actually we were as high as 694. That means I was up with 7,000 shares, 60 cents, 7 times 6. I was up $4,200 on that. Obviously only for a second, but my thought was that if we could break through 7, we'd be off to the next half dollar, 7.50, and then maybe $8. Obviously, that didn't happen. So ended up coming back down. It happened very quickly. And you can see here on the 1-minute chart how fast you can go from being up to, in this candle. I mean, literally, in this 1-minute candle, I went from being up 50 cents to break even. And I kind of was like, okay, I'll hold through this for a second. And in this candle, we went all the way down to 5.94, and I was down 30 cents. So, and here we are, coming back up towards the highs. But in any case, a little bit of frustration there on that one. And both PSIX and CUR, these were both scanner alerts. These were stocks that hit the high day scanner. I saw them on the scanner. I punched in the symbol. I see it spiking up, and I jumped in. On PSIX, it actually halted before I could get in. So I didn't even get filled until after the halt. It resumes trading, so circuit breaker halt because the stock moved more than 10% in basically the last 2 minutes. It gets halted, resumes, it gets halted at 5.41. It resumes at 5.65. And then I got in at 5.90, and it spikes up to 6.43, and it's halted. And even right there, I was up from my 5.90 average 50 cents, but only on like 2,700 shares. So that's when I decided to add 2,500 at 6.50 and another 2,500 at 6.80 for the break of $7. So why would I add when a stock is going up? You might ask. I've got my good entry. Maybe I should just hold that entry. Well, this is obviously an example where it didn't work. But the reason, and I'll show you CUR because that one did work. But the reason I do that is because, let's say I take 5,000 shares at, or just exactly how it happened. I take 2,700 shares at 5.90, and then it pops up to 6.50. Now, I have two choices. One choice is to sell half. And at that point, I was up like $1,500. So I could have sold half and adjusted the stop to, maybe to break even on the rest or a profit stop. Alternatively, because the stock is showing strength, I could add to that position, and that's what I did. I added at 6.50, so now my average comes up to like 6.20. So my average has come up, but now I have twice the share size. So instead of 2,700 shares, now I've got like 5,000 shares, and my stop should be at my entry point, and that's where I made a mistake here. My stop should be right at my entry point. So now I'm not actually risking a loss. And if the stock now goes to 75 or to 80, I'll make twice as much in profit on basically no risk because my stop is break even. The problem that I'm having is keeping the stop at break even. That's obviously the issue that I'm having. And it's come up several times where I've gotten into a trade, I've chased it higher, where I keep adding as it goes up. The reason I do this is because, look, we've had trades where I add and it just squeezes, straight to 7.50 or to 8. And so, yeah, even though my average isn't as good, I've got a bigger position and I can ride this wave that much longer and make, that much more money. The trade we took on DFFN, this was at the beginning of the year. But on this day, the stock, we got in at like $8. I just grabbed 2,000 shares and ended up opening at $15. Now imagine if that happened with a 20,000 share position. That would be a $100,000 winner. if it happened. And you never know when you're going to get in and just be in the right place at the right time and have that type of resolution. Obviously, it didn't happen on PSIX, um, but it wasn't the worst setup. The real problem here is that I should have just hit the bailout button when I went down to break even. As soon as I went from being up a lot and I went red, I should have just sold and not even thought about it. And that's something that I need to work on, because this is not the first time that this has happened this week even. Um, and so it's something that I need to be mindful of. When I get into a trade, it's fine if I want to add, but I'm increasing my average and I can't let a winner turn into a loser. I mean, that's really the rule of thumb. Don't let a winner turn into a loser. And that's what I did on this one. And it ended up being I basically lost $7,000 from the high of 694 all the way down to the low of 580. The issue here is that, I can be critical of myself, but the reality is this was a very quick, this was a period of 120 seconds. You don't have a lot of time to think. And if you try to sit there for a moment and make a decision and think, the stock is still dropping and you're losing more and more and more and more. And then you start to get in the situation where, well, now I'm in the hole. Maybe I should wait it out. I want to make a good decision. I don't want to panic out of this trade. And, it can just it can just compound itself because you're just sitting there like a deer in the headlights as, the train's getting closer and closer and closer. So obviously I'm not happy with the way I manage risk on this trade. If I'd been able to stop out break even, I'd be up $9,000 today. That would be nice. Instead, I gave back some profit being overly aggressive. And this is kind of, I stepped up to the plate, big share size, really thought it was going to work, and then I got stubborn. I didn't give up when it came back down to break even. I felt that it was going to work, and so, hindsight being 2020, I should have just thrown in the towel as soon as it broke back below the $0.50, probably after moving up to 94. As soon as it came back down to 650 and broke 650, I should have just gotten out of the trade. A little frustrated with that. I see this, getting some momentum again here. Clearly, it's very strong. The 1 minute pullback is the spot that some traders would take. The first 1 minute candle to make a new high right there. For me, this is kind of the lunch hour. I'm down $3,100 on the name. I could recoup some of the loss, but I would wait for a really clean setup, probably a clean 5 minute, to reduce my risk because I don't want to give back more profit from the day. All right, so that's the trade on PSIX. The trade on CUR, and I'll pull up KBSF also. Now, the trade on CUR was in part motivated by the big miss I had yesterday on NOVN. Yesterday, we had this stock, NOVN, that went from $5.50 to $8. And this is a great example of a stock where if you had been adding, let's say you started with 5,000 shares at $5.50. You start with 5,000 shares at $5.50. And then you say, well, I'm going to double over $6. So now you've got 10,000 shares at $5.75. It breaks up to $6.50, and you're like, you know what? I'll add another 2,000 shares at or 2,500 shares at $6.50. So you've added 2,500 shares. Now your average is, getting close to $6, and you've got 12,000 shares. You say, you know what? I'm going to do my final add over $7 and just try to ride this momentum. So now you've got an average of 15,000. You've got 15,000 shares with an average somewhere around, 630. And when this goes up to 730, you're up 15 grand. When it goes to 750, you're up 17. It peaks out at $8, and that turns into potentially a $15,000 to $20,000 winner, right? So the thing is, if you started at the very beginning with 20,000 shares, you right away are risking, let's say 30 cents, $6,000. Whereas when you started with 5,000 shares, 30 cents is only $1,500. So 25% of the risk on your initial add, and then knowing that you can add as it goes up, you're not actually really increasing your risk if you're moving your stop up. And then that's how you get yourself into this position where you're holding 15 or 20,000 shares of a stock, and you're like, my stop is at break even. So if you could have the opportunity to hold 25,000 shares of a stock with a break-even stop, your risk is now zero. And your profit potential, if it works, let's say it goes 1 point, it's 25 grand. It goes 2 points, that's $50,000. And this is a stock here that went from 550 up to $8. That's 2.5 points. So that's a lot of potential. And that's what I thought when I saw CUR hitting the scanner. I saw it hitting the scans, and I was like, okay, this looks like NOVN did yesterday. It's kind of coming up out of consolidation. It's got a lot of room to go. I'm going to jump on this, and I'm not going to miss it. So that's what I did. CUR starts popping up. I got in at my average was fairly high. I started adding at 350, and I got filled 368, 370, 378, and even as high as $4. So I really didn't get as good of a fill as I wanted. My average was just under 370. But because I took 5,000 shares and then doubled to 10,000 and then added another 5,000, it got halted at $4. We resume, and as we resume, I take my final add and we squeeze up to a high of 444. Now, I thought potentially this could go up to $5 because that was resistance on the daily chart at the 200 moving average. So although it didn't get up as far as that, for my average of 68.70, as it started to come back down, I took my profit and I got about 50 cents of profit with 20,000 shares. So, there you go. There's $10,000. This is not a trade that even worked out that well, but it was still a good winner. Unfortunately, NOVN yesterday, it was just a great trade, and I missed it. And that's the luck of the draw. Sometimes you miss these. Sometimes they just completely run without you. They hit the scanners. The hundreds of thousands of people using these scanners see the stock hitting it. They jump in. It moves up. And if you, went to go walk the dog or, fell out of your chair for a second and then got back up, you might have missed the opportunity. I mean, it just happens that quickly. So NOVN, great example yesterday. CUR, not even the best example not even the best trade, but I positioned myself aggressively. PSIX, I wasn't able to position myself as aggressively because I didn't get in before the first halt. It was halted here at 541. If I was able to get in with like 10,000 shares or 15,000 before this first halt, then I could have done a lot better. But I was adding out of the first halt, getting in at 590. So not the best average there. And then let's see, we've got someone's mentioning KBSF is getting some momentum. Look at that, from 8 to 970. So that obviously right there is a good amount of volatility. 1.5 points. The volume is pretty light on it. If we go back to PSIX, this one just moved from 550 to 750. So these are the opportunities that you have to be looking for in the market. When a stock starts to move, when it starts to hit the scanners, when it starts to get a little bit of momentum, we're in a market right now where those moves become exaggerated. And although some of them become real targets for short sellers, they pop up and then they come way back down, others get really good continuation, like this PSIX, and they make that secondary move. Figuring out which one is going to make the secondary move and which one is just going to pop up and fade is something that obviously if I knew, I would just hold through the pullback, or I would just be accumulating through the whole pullback, but you just don't always know. And it's kind of like you have this collective trading mentality where you've got these hundreds of thousands of day traders out there, and they go from one stock to the next. And for whatever reason, this one is pretty attractive right now. CUR had a headline this morning, which made me think it was going to be pretty good. NOVN, I don't even think there was news on that yesterday, but it was fantastic, right? So it's hard to understand the rhyme or the reason. And that's where traders who focus on fundamentals can get themselves so frustrated because it just doesn't always make sense. And that's why we focus on technicals. So we just do what the chart tells us. If the chart is showing volume, if we've got our scanner alert, we've got volume, we know it's a stock that has potential. Whether it's NOVN, it's HMNY, GLBS, CUR, PSIX, these are stocks that all have potential for various reasons. They meet the criteria of being in play. So when we see those stocks hitting our scans, we look for an opportunity to get in and manage risk. I think I did a pretty good job today on NOVN, I managed risk on that. Even I did trade that one today. I was going for continuation. On this one, I think it was right around 5,000 shares right out of the gates. I was thinking along over 670. Because of this consolidation all of yesterday, we were holding the 630 level, curling up. So I was like, okay, I'll get in this, ride the momentum. I get in at 670. I'm up like 50 cents per share as it spikes up to a high of 722, and I was like, this looks great. I'll probably add over 750 and then look for the move to $8, and I'll end up having 10, 15,000 shares with a 720 average or maybe a $7 average, and this is potentially an $10,000 winner. Obviously, it ended up rolling over, didn't follow through, stopped out, but I only lost $636. So on that one, I was really good. On PSIX, I think I don't know. I think I was surprised at how fast it dropped. I really thought it was going to go more, and I was wrong. And I need to be more willing to accept defeat faster and not hold on to these so long because I get myself into a pickle. And now this week, and this is the worst news of the day for many of you. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I'm not going to be trading tomorrow. I'm taking the day off. I'm taking a long weekend because we don't have any trading on Monday. So I'm going to be out, obviously Monday and then also Friday, so 4-day weekend. So today is also the last day of my trading week. And I'm finishing the week with $21,000 in total profits. Here's the thing. On my winners, I made $40,000. And on my losers, I lost $20,000 this week. $40,000 in winning trades and $20,000 in losing trades this week. So, that tells you kind of, where I'm at with my trading. I'm stepping up to the plate, with pretty big share size. And, when it works, it works. And when it doesn't, it's bad. And this week I had a $4,500 loss. I had a $3,100 loss, a $2,600 loss, a $2,400 loss, three $1,500 losses, and then several that were smaller than that. On the bright side, I had two $10,000 winners, or winners that were very close to 10 grand. I had a $5,000 winner earlier in the week, $2,500 winner, and three $1,500 winners. So the winners, outweigh the losses, and ultimately that's what any successful trader looks for. I'm not going to beat myself up for losing 20 grand this week. I mean, I'm at a net profit, and you always look at what your net gain is. So my statistics, the interesting thing is that my percentage of success has gone down. During my Sure Trader Challenge, when I was trading, for the first 24 days of this $100,000 challenge, I was trading with Sure Trader. So from $583 up to $41,000. And during those 24 days, I traded with 87% accuracy. I was being very selective about what I was willing to trade. And in those 24 days, I only had one red day. On that red day, I lost 5 grand. But really, my accuracy, I had 54 winning trades and only 8 losers. So, that's something that was really, fantastic. Now, this week, I actually only traded with 56% accuracy. So my accuracy has dropped down a little bit, and it's absolutely a result of trades like PSIX today that earlier in the year, when I didn't have as much of a cushion, I wouldn't have been as aggressive about adding, and I would have just taken the profit. I would have just been like, forget it, take the $2,000 and be done with it. So this is to say that, even if you lined up two versions of me side by side to trade the markets, those two versions of me would trade the market differently, depending on their mentality, where they're at in the month, where they're at in the year, how they feel on that day, whether that orange dog over there is driving them crazy, there's going to be variables. And so whether you're one of our students that's trying to trade similar stocks as me, or there were 3 of me lined up, there's always going to be a lot of variables. We all have different risk tolerances, and you can see how mine have changed during the last really during the last few weeks that we've been in February, even in the last 2 weeks. Last week I made $5,000. I was up 15 grand, and I gave back 9,000 on Thursday and Friday. The week before that, I made $26,000. So I mean, it was like, I killed it. So 26,000, and then 5,000 last week, and this week I'm up 20,000. So on the month, I'm up $58,000. On the year in total profits, I'm up $100,399, and that's in 6 weeks of trading. And on my small account challenge, quote small account challenge, I'm up $66,655. So obviously, at the very beginning of the year, there's an extra $35,000. That's because for the first month when I had that really small account, I was also trading in my regular account and holding positions longer. So I was applying two different types of strategies to the market, and that ended up working. I mean, we've been in a market where stocks are strong, and I'm going to continue to ride this momentum as long as I can. I can't wait to get to the 100K mark. I think that, I mean, I could be 2 weeks away. I could do it. I don't think there should be any reason that I won't be there by the end of March, but we'll see. Maybe things will slow down, and I'll have to kind of adjust a little bit. The reason that I've been making as much as I've been making is because I've been willing to risk a lot, and I have confidence in my strategy. I have confidence in the stocks that we're trading. I have confidence in these trade ideas scanners that I'm using. Confidence in the tools I have, and I've been stepping up to the plate. So, the wins have been good, but the losses have also been fairly painful. I mean, if I look, geez, I don't even know if I want to look, but since I just said it, now I need to know. I'd like to see how much in total I've lost in this year, because I know I've had some pretty big losses. So let's see, that's column X. So I want to see my my total winning trades versus my total losers. So in total, so far this year, I have made, let's see, wow, $191,000 in winning trades, and I've taken $90,000 in losses. So, those are some big numbers. But the end result is that I'm up, 100 grand before commissions, and I guess, or after, I'm probably up 110 before commissions and 100 after commissions. So green is good. I think there's some room for me to improve as a trader. I think that if I saw these metrics on a student's account, I would say that you need to tighten up the losses a little bit. Some of these losses are too big. And, in the last 6 weeks, and I'm saying this to myself, but if I was looking at this as a student, I would say you've taken $90,000 in losses. I'm not saying you haven't had a good month. You have, but you got to find a way to tighten those up. And so, for me, what I need to do is get better at stopping out break even when I get into a trade that works and is green and then comes back down. I also need to, try to be a little more careful about chasing. I definitely chased QBAK earlier this week the same way I chased RGSE last month, and both times doing that really cost me. Anyways, that's where we're at here. At the end of the month, at the end of February, I will post my February broker statement. I've already posted my January broker statement for my SureTrader portion of the challenge. And these are real trades. It's a real strategy. I'll 100% back it up with my statements for anyone that wants to see them. This is not something that I don't think almost anyone could do if you get the proper training. If you learn the strategy, if you start with small size, 100 shares at a time, 200, 300, 400, and just slowly scale up as your confidence grows, then you can do really well. And I'll be excited to hear how our student John does this week, not this week, but this month. I know that he's doing a really fantastic job trading side by side with me, same strategy, and he'll probably be approaching at least $40,000 this month. So, and there may be a month where he does better. I know that there were days this week where he was green and I was red because I pushed it a little too hard, and I got spanked, and that's that's what happens when you get a little too aggressive. And I think that he's not quite as aggressive as me, and that for him sometimes really does pay off. So, in any case, I'm sure John will, as he said he was going to do a blog post about his month, so he'll do that. But John and Roberto both trading the same strategies as me. Of course, so many of you are as well. And really the goal is just, as a momentum trader, to search the market. We're hunters of volatility. We're searching for volatility and volume and opportunity. And we see it almost every single day, whether it's a bull market or a bear market. I statistically do better when the market is red. Today we have a red market. Yesterday we had a green market and I lost money. So it doesn't appear to be a coincidence, since that was the statistic that I maintained for all of 2016, and I'm continuing through 2017. So, these are things that if you don't know that you are typically red on green market days when the market's up a lot, then you're not going to be able to adjust your strategy. So you have to be aware of these metrics. So I track all of my metrics. I've got them in TraderView. My metrics for the month of January are posted. You guys can look at them, and I'll just keep posting them on a monthly basis, just shortly after the end of the month once I get my statements and stuff like that. All right, guys. So I think that's it for today, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend. I'm sorry I won't be here tomorrow. You can bet that I will be missing the market at 9:30. I'll be feeling a little bit lost about what to do, but it is what it is. So I'll be back first thing on Tuesday morning. I hope everyone has a great long weekend, and yeah, I'll see you here bright and early. All right, so we're not going to do a free chat next week, and we're going to postpone it. We've got so many new faces in the community. I think we'll just take a week off from that. So we'll just enjoy next week. It'll be a short week, and I'll see. Maybe I'll make a YouTube video this weekend, skiing with Ross. All right, so you guys can look out for that. It'll be coming soon. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Have a great weekend.
Let's be honest. If you made it this far, you must have really enjoyed that video. So what's stopping you? Subscribe right here and get email alerts anytime I upload new content. Until then, happy surfing